All right, so it is Wednesday, and we're going to look at some exponent rules. So for the next 3 days, we're going to talk about exponent rules. And today you should have the blue paper. And when we talk about exponents, let's do a little bit of review. If you could write 2x to the 4th power. And we're going to label each piece. The 2, as a reminder, is your coefficient. The 4 is your exponent, sometimes called a power. And then the x is your variable. However, when we're talking about exponents, sometimes we refer to it as the base. And so, over here, let's remind you what exponents mean. 2 to the 3rd power means that there are 3 2's. That's how many there are. Try to keep this focused. Okay, and then x to the 3rd power means that there are 3 x's. And I'm putting a little dot in between. That little dot in between is your multiply sign. So now let's see what happens when we try to multiply 2 bases and see what happened to the exponent. So 2 squared means that there are 2 2's. And then 2 to the 4th power means that there are 4 2's. And I'm doing them in different colors here. So there's the 4 and there's the 2. And if I put them all together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I have 2 to the 6th power. And so let's do it again. 5 to the 3rd power means that there are 3 5's. And 5 squared means that there are 2 5's. And when we put them all together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 to the 5th power. And the same thing works for variables. So if I have x to the 4th power, that means I have 4 x's. And then if I have x to the 7th power, I have 7 x's. And then if I add them all up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, x to the 11th power. And one more. I have a to the 6th power, so that means that there are 6 a's. And then I have a squared, which means that there are 2 a's. And if we add them all up, that's a to the 8th power. All right, can you see what's happening? How do I get from this box to this box without writing everything out? And hopefully you'll notice that we took these exponents and we added them together. 2 plus 4 is 6. 3 plus 2 is 5. 4 plus 7 is 11, and 6 plus 2 is 8. And this only works because the base was the same. Like I had x's both times, I had a's both times, 5's both times. So the rule says that when multiplying the same base, you add the exponents. On your formula chart, it looks like this, the product of powers property. And it says that if you have a to the m power and a to the n power, then you're multiplying the same base, a and a. So you would take the a and you would add the exponents, the m and the n were the exponents. So let's do a couple of practice problems. Number 1, x times x. Well, if there's no exponent written, it's an invisible 1. And 1 plus 1 is 2. So now I have x to the second power. Here, x to the 3/4 times x to the 5/4, we're taking 3/4 plus 5/4, which would give us 8/4, which equals 2. And if you would have just typed this part into the calculator, and today we're only looking at a calculator page just to do some calculations, and that would have given you 2. So now I have x squared again. Then when we get to number 3, we now have a number out in front. That number out in front is your coefficient. So for these examples here, we are going to multiply the coefficient, just like it says, 5 times -2. And sometimes I also say multiply the big number and add the exponents, which is your little number. Okay, just some ways to help you remember. So now I'm going to take my coefficients, 5 times -2, that gives me -10. And then I'm going to take my exponents, 7 and 8, because they're both on the z. 7 plus 8 give me 15, so z to the 15th power. Okay, number 4, x to the -5 times x squared. There's no coefficient, so I just take my exponents, -5 plus 2, which gives me -3. So this is x to the -3rd power. All right, on number 5, I have coefficients. So you could see the little dot as a multiply. You could see parentheses as a multiply. 3 times 5 is 15. And then I got to look at my x's. I have x to the 7, and there's an invisible 1 here. 7 plus 1 is 8, so that's x to the 8th power. And then my y's, I have -4 and 9, so -4 plus 9 equals 5, y to the 5th power. And then last one, this time I do have a coefficient. I have a -1 coefficient and a -4. -1 times -4 is +4. And then let's talk about the a's. I can only put a's with a's. So this is a to the squared, and there's an invisible 1, plus 1 gives me 3. So this is a to the little 3, exponent of 3. And then I have b. There's an invisible 1 here, and then there's a 7. Plus 7 gives me 8. So this is b to the 8th power. And then I have c to the 1 plus 8, which is 9. So c to the 9th power. So again, all it is we're multiplying the exponents. We're multiplying the coefficients, I'm sorry. We're multiplying the coefficients, and we're adding the exponents. So you need to take a moment to answer the summary question, which says Sally simplified 2x times 3x and got 5x squared. She also simplified 2x plus 3x and got 5x squared. Explain how to correct the errors that she made in each situation. So I'm telling you that both of these are wrong. The answers are wrong for both of them, and you need to tell me why. Once you do that, then you turn your paper over And this is your assignment for day 1, and it goes over what we just talked about. And you will get there by going through Google Classroom and clicking on the quizzes, exponents day 1. It should have popped up by now if it hadn't already been there. There are 12 questions, and again, all you're doing is multiplying and adding the exponents. This little star also means multiply, okay? So you could see the multiply lots of ways, parentheses, a star, or a little dot. All of those are multiply, so do the rule that we put on front. And if you need to, I maybe would rewrite the rule up here, where you multiply the coefficient right? That's the big number. Add the exponents of the same base. Right? Meaning you can only add x's with x's and y's with y's. All right. Both the notes through Edpuzzle and then this assignment through quizzes will be taken for a grade.